The Suns are on the board now. Game 3 at home, Friday night in Phoenix. Phoenix Suns come out and behind a legendary performance by one Devin Booker, 47 points, 20 of 25 from the field, only 2 free throws, which were his last 2 points of the game. 47 from him, 39 from Kevin Durant, and the Suns hold on. They survive, even despite the fact that they were up 15 at halftime. They win by 7 points, 121-114, and now are officially on the board in this series. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I mean, just breathe. There's plenty we got to talk about on this podcast. A lot of positive things that happened, some frustrating things that happened, and we're going to explore all of those. And I will say this, Matthew was at the game, so my partner, Matthew Lissy, will not be present. But I am joined from the He's on Fire podcast, Coach Evan B. Coach, it's good to have you back on the pod.
It's great to be here, man. What a weird ass game and a weird ass playoffs, to say the least.
Yes, I mean, you think about the fact that this team looked great in the first half, right? 15-point lead halftime. I do my Twitter space solo by myself. You know, shout out to Caleb and Sir Hamo of the Aussie Suns fan podcast, who decided to come on and talk with me a little bit during that Twitter space. You know, one thing that Hamo said is like, hey, the Booker might have to go for 50 in this game, and we were both like, nah, he won't. They're going to have this one in hand. And then the third quarter happened. So, I mean, plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So first and foremost, if you're joining us live, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. If you're on Facebook or Twitter or the YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching later time, go ahead, hit that thumbs up. If you're listening to the podcast, stop by the Apple Pod, give us a 5-star review. We truly appreciate it. And we truly appreciate Freddie in the super chat, $4.99 already, says Nugget fan here. Great game. I just want to let you know that you and your co-hosts are both comedians. So fucking hilarious. See you on Sunday. He's not talking about you, Evan, so you got some big shoes to fill. Matthew's a comedian on this pod.
Man, I'm not going to be having a lot of jokes tonight, let me tell you, though.
Oh, man. Hey, we got to win, okay? It's a good thing you're here because we got to win, because we got a loss. It might be a different kind of pod, but we'll focus on the positive, you know, and then we'll talk about the areas of opportunity. And if I'm talking about opportunity, I do want to throw this out there. I just want to take a second to make sure everyone can take advantage of an amazing opportunity from DraftKings. If you're a new user, you can receive an incredible offer. Deposit and place just a $5 wager on any sport, and you'll get instantly $150 added to your account in bonus bets. Win or lose, you still receive the bonus, and all you have to do is use the code SUNSJAM at signup. Now, I know some of you might be hesitant to try your hand at sports betting. I bet on DeAndre Ayton for 16 points tonight. I feel like a fucking idiot. That was money. I might as well just like burn that shit. But let me tell you, this is the perfect opportunity for you to give it a shot. Plus, using our code SUNSJAM not only gets you the bonus, but also supports the podcast. So it deals like this. If you have opportunities like this to help cover our costs to bring you our podcast, please help us out. So if you haven't signed up on DraftKings yet, please consider doing so using the code SUNSJAM to place that first bet. Remember, this offer is only available to new customers who are 21 and over and physically present in Arizona. And please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. So what are you waiting for? Head to DraftKings.com. Take advantage of this incredible opportunity today and chug with the fellas, right? First chugging with the fellas of the Western Conference semis, man. Let's go. So, Evan, while I'm chugging this beer, just real quick, if you're new to the Suns and you're new to the playoffs, what we do is every time we win, we chug a beer. Okay, so while I'm chugging this delicious beverage, Coach, let everyone know where they can find and follow you outside of the Suns Jam Session podcast. Cheers, fuckers.
At Coach Evan B, at He's on Fire Pod. We're going to be going live Tuesdays coming up here. And look at John go like
I'm already done.
Champ.
Already done.
Like, geez, I got 4 words out, and there you are already done like a champ. I mean, that brought you back to when you were 21, 22?
Yeah, more like 17. You remember when like drinking, you did it before it was legal and it was exciting. It's just like smoking weed, right? Like back when you had to like go find a guy and you're like, oh, dude, he gave me way too many seeds in this. Now it's like you can go around the corner block. It's like, I don't smoke anymore. It's legal. Like, why would I do that? I want to break the law. So heroin, folks, let me tell you something. I'm just kidding.
He's on fire. No.
He's- Well, on that note, Jamsters, I know you're going to crack open a cold one with me, aren't you, Coach?
Absolutely.
Let's
I
do
got
this.
the best beer ever right there. You know why it's the best?
Why?
Somebody left it in my fridge and it was free. So there
Free
you go.
beer. Free beer. You know what? Same thing. My brother left this in my fridge. So pop them if you got them, Suns fans. Oh yeah, and let's talk about a Suns victory, baby. Phoenix Suns win game number 3, 121 to 114 on the board. Big win for the Suns. Some areas of opportunity, but I have a question, and Matthew's not here, but still I gotta ask it.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Evan, I gotta ask, is Devin Booker the best Phoenix Sun in postseason history? And with that question, before you answer it, he's got to get his drop. Big Dick Booker. All right. Is he the best Sun in postseason history?
Yes, and it's not close. I've got some of his stats here that I want to read off, starting back with his first playoff series in 2021. First 2 games against the Lakers, the win and the loss, 34, 31, and of course the closeout, he had 47. Second round against the Nuggets, and in a closeout game, he had 34, his highest of that series.
Mm-hmm.
Clippers, Western Conference Finals, the man had 40 to start it off. Finals, he had 42 and 40, playing off of a bad hammy. Last year, he had 23 and 30 before going down against New Orleans. No, he had 25 and 31, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And then against Dallas, he had 23 and 30 before, obviously, we lost. And then you look at last series, how good he was with a 45 and a 47-point game. He's just a transcendent player for the Phoenix Suns. And he will be, if he's not already, he will be the best Phoenix Sun of all time. Regular season, postseason, preseason, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, he scored 47 points tonight, right? And that's so 5 plus 3, so that's 8 games. He's averaging in this postseason alone 36.9 points per game. 36.9 points per game for Devin Armani Booker. So you would call yourself a basketball aficionado, a Suns fan, right?
Absolutely.
You know what time it is.
Trivia time. So where does Devin Booker's 36.9 points per game land him in postseason history for the Phoenix Suns in one season?
In like a single playoff season?
Yes, in a single run.
I'm kind of blanking on what Chuck did in that finals run, but I'm just going to say number 1.
Number 1 is correct. And it's not even close. Who do you think is number 2?
It's got to be Chuck or it's got to be Nash.
Number 2 was the 2004-2005 run from Amari Stoudemire.
Okay.
Who scored 29.9 points per game. As mentioned before, Devin Booker is averaging 36.9. Number 3 on the list is Kevin Durant. This postseason. Number 4 on the list, as you mentioned, Charles Barkley, his 27.6 in 1993-94, not 92-93. And Devin Booker's run in 2021 is 27.3. The answer is yes. It's a resounding yes. The Devin Booker is the best Phoenix Sun in postseason history. Statistically, he's most likely going to end his career as the best Phoenix Sun of all time. And performances like tonight are what makes him so special and what makes us as Suns fans, we have to stop and we have to appreciate what we're viewing, because Big Dick Booker was slinging that thing all over the court to begin the game, right? This is a game that you have to come out and you have to have a certain level of intensity. And you know that the crowd's going to be behind you, and you know that the strategy in this game for the Denver Nuggets is simple: sustain the emotion. The Nuggets know that the Suns are going to come out behind the emotion of their home crowd, and they just have to sustain it. And they did that. I mean, they came back from down 15 at halftime. But Devin Booker comes out the first quarter, 18 points, 8 of 10 from the field. Phoenix had 29. He had 18 of them. Second quarter, he comes out, and he only gets a cool 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting. Third quarter starts to slow down a little bit, only 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting. And then, of course, the fourth quarter, Devin Booker, 5 of 5 from the field, 12 points. Did all of this with 2 fouls. Or I'm sorry, 2 fouls, 5 fouls. That 5 for 5 fouls in that fourth quarter. What we saw from Devin Booker is just unbelievable. His scoring totals now as a Sun in only his third postseason. He's now 8th all time in total points in Phoenix Suns history, passing Paul Westphal and Alvin Adams.
Woo!
I mean, this guy, and this is his third postseason. Devin Booker, appreciated, Suns fans. Appreciate it. I like to say, I've used this analogy before. I remember back in 2000, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 4 consecutive years, Randy Johnson won Cy Youngs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And every time he was on the mound, I did my best to get down to the stadium for a $5 seat just to watch it because I knew I was witnessing greatness. We are witnessing greatness in what Devin Booker does. We needed every one of those 47 points to beat a good, tough, deep team in the Denver Nuggets. And the only question I have for you, Coach, how pissed are you that every time they show a preview of this game, it's like Jokic's face and Durant's face? Give Booker some respect, ESPN, you twats.
Yeah, I really don't give a damn about what they show on the other team. I'm used to us not getting love. You always get the big faces of the other team, and we're the ones kind of on the bottom of the graphic, right? Yeah. That's fine, but putting KD over Book right now, I mean, that's just another national narrative BS that you clearly ain't watching the game.
Yeah, you haven't been watching the entire postseason. Don't get me wrong. Again, Kevin Durant, what he's doing, and we'll get to him shortly, is absolutely fantastic. But you have to recognize who is the face of this franchise. It's Devin Armani Booker. Everything that he does in the postseason, especially this postseason run, is spectacular. He becomes the first player since Michael Jeffrey Jordan in 1992 to average 35 or more points per game over the first 8 games of a postseason. Michael Jordan. I don't know if you know this. Sitting right over here, I got, my Jordan and Barkley picture, right? Michael Jordan is my favorite player of all time. Look at you. Do you have the same one? That'd be adorable if we both hold this up.
I don't have the same one, but I got my Jordan one somewhere here I was going to bring out, but I don't have the same one. But
Jordan, my favorite player of all time.
Mine too.
To see Devin Booker, what he does, it's Jordan-esque, baby. It's Jordan-esque.
What'd you say Devin Booker was averaging this postseason? Oh, 11-11 on my side. Make a wish, by the way.
Ooh, you must be in Utah. It's 10-11 out here. He's averaging 36.9.
36.9. I want to read something off to you. 43.7 was Michael Jordan's best playoffs. But it was in a 3-game series loss to the Celtics. All right.
That's where he scored 61 in the overtime.
Exactly. His next 2 for 16 games, 36.7 and 89-90. Okay. And his next one was 87-88 in 10 games where they lost to the Pistons, 36.3. Those are his top 3 performances, and none of those performances, by the way, did end up in a championship. So take that for what you will.
Well, but it goes to show you, and it's something that we need to kind of discuss as much as we admire Devin Booker for what he's done. 47 points, 20 of 25 from the field, ladies and gentlemen. Just that kind of efficiency doesn't fucking happen. 2 free throw attempts, 25.
Jesus.
25 shot attempts to get 47 points. It's unreal. But the question becomes, is that what the Suns are going to continually need to win games? Shout out to Joseph Casillas in the chat. He says, Book played 42 minutes. Might be the lowest amount during this playoff run. I mean, if we think about it, are we going to continue to need this plus Kevin Durant's 39 in order to win games? Or is that just what they need to do to win this series? What's your take on that?
I'm not particularly high on this version of the Phoenix Suns. I am particularly higher on Devin Booker than I've ever been before. And with that being said, just to answer your question without going into specifics, we don't have a choice. We don't have it. You have to play Steve Nash 46 minutes in the playoffs to be able to pull it off and get a win. This is exactly what that is, almost to a T.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a recipe necessarily for success.
But before you go on, but talent in the NBA trumps everything.
Facts.
Period.
Facts. But again, it's not the preferable way. You look at the Denver Nuggets tonight. Okay. 21 points from Michael Porter Jr., 30 from Jokic, 30 from Murray, 11 from Brown coming off the bench. You have multiple players who are averaging double figures in this series. The Phoenix Suns, 47 from Booker, 39 from Kevin Durant. No other member of the team scored in double digits.
Yep.
That's what's scary. That's what's not sustainable. Now, granted, I love this. We won. If we don't win this game, you and I are sitting here having a much different conversation, talking about how great Devin Booker is. But guess what? The season's over. With this win, the season's not over. But just over that horizon, I can see something that isn't necessarily it leaves me feeling good. All right? It's like it's like you're driving down a road, but you know that you're and you know you got the Waze app and you're cruising, and that's what the regular season is. And there's a speed bump, pothole, oh shit, you know, like Devin Booker's out, you know, with the groin issue, and you know somebody gets in front of you and they start, you know, brake tapping and such, and you're like, oh, there's Kevin Durant's ankle. That's kind of annoying. And then all of a sudden you go, you know what? The Waze app hits you. It's like, oh, in 5 miles ahead, there's an accident, and you're about to be slowed the fuck down. You're gonna have to divert off the highway. Like the Waze app is pinging right now. We're gonna have to divert off the highway here pretty quick because again, this isn't sustainable. Denver is a damn good team, and as much as I want to sit here and be overly excited about this win, and don't get me wrong, I am. We live to fight another day. We have an opportunity on Sunday to come back and even this series up, which is huge.
Yeah.
But the Phoenix Suns need to find something more than relying on 37 from Devin Booker and 39 from Kevin Durant. I mean, that's right there. What, 78 points? 88 points? 88 points between the two.
And
I love it, but it's not sustainable, homies.
At the same time, we shot 50% tonight overall from the field.
Mm-hmm.
We shoot that last game, and we don't shoot 40%. We're up 2-1.
100%.
That's what's insane about it.
And it's completely different, right? Because championship teams need to be chameleons.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
They don't just win one way. They can win 4 or 5 different ways. That's what made that Suns team last season so deadly, is they could beat you 5 different ways. They could beat you with defense. They could beat you with 3-point shooting. They could beat you in the clutch. They could blow you out. There's only been one real recipe for success this postseason for the Phoenix Suns, and that is Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just high-rooking you, and you just have to try to survive it. And the Nuggets came in here knowing that, you know what, they just got to get 1 out of 2. They get 1 out of 2, they go home with a 3-1 lead, and mission accomplished. So, yeah, they fought in this one, and, yeah, the Suns controlled this game for the most part. But, again, there's a car wreck coming, and I want to be optimistic, but I have to be a realist. That's why you folks come to the pod and you hang out and you listen, because I keep it real. Maybe a little too real, but I keep it real.
I'm a coach at heart. Even when we're winning 20 in a row, I'm still looking at what needs to be improved. So everybody's always like, man, you're always negative. I'm like, no, that's literally my mindset. Is like, what else can you do to improve? That's good. You did that one thing. That's great. Let's move to the next thing. Then let's move to the next thing. Right. So after every win, after every loss, I'm always looking at what you can improve on. And it's still crazy that we could legitimately still be up 2-1.
Oh, I know.
Things that need to improve.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We got more to talk about.
Talk me off the ledge.
We got more to. There's a ledge coming, and we'll talk about plenty more of that. I want to focus on some things that went right in this game, and again, I'm a Suns fan, so again, I'm always looking for opportunity. And anybody who blindly is like, "Well, you just support your team no matter what," like, duh. Of course you support your team, but that doesn't mean that you can't be critical or analytical of your team. And
Yep.
if you're not, like, you're the person who doesn't use your blinker. You're the person who gets in front of somebody in line and has like 2 items, and you're like, you hold up line, or I have 2 items, and you see me behind you, and you hold up the line with like 57 fucking items. And I got like toothpaste, and you're like, and God bless people making self checkout, so I can just go around you, fucking people of
Imbeciles.
the imbecile. Good word. Let's move on to the guy who scored the second most points in this game.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
43 minutes tonight for Kevin Durant. He was 12 of 31 from the field, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc, but 14 of 16 from the free throw line. If Devin Booker didn't shoot his 2 free throws, every free throw taken in this game by the Suns would have been by Kevin Durant. Ended with 39 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks, and
0 turnovers.
Huge. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's been his issue, not only in this series, but in this entire playoffs. Another poor shooting start, 1 of 7 in quarter 1. And you know what? It's not hating on Kevin Durant to say, hey, man, you shot like shit in that first quarter. He shot like shit the majority of this game. Again, 31 attempts for 39 points. What saved him was he decided in this game, you know what? I'm going to attack the basket. And in quarter 2, that's exactly what he did. And we know that Denver isn't the best defensive team in this league, right? Like their best defense is their offense, and how they can manipulate what they do and score points to take you out of your game plan, so you're starting to get in desperation mode. But you need to attack them, and that's exactly what the Suns did in this game, is they attacked them. Now, granted, they attacked. They got the calls in the second quarter, and then they didn't shoot a free throw again until like 6:44 left in the fourth. So the refs clearly went in at halftime and swallowed their whistles, because they were reading the subreddit for the Denver Nuggets and how everyone was bitching about the calls. So they clearly are just like, oh, okay, I guess we can't call anything now. But when you look at Kevin Durant and when you see him have those poor shooting starts, what's going through your mind? And would you like him in those moments to turn into less of an isolation player and more of a distributor?
Whatever happened to KD and DeAndre Ayton pick and rolls?
Whatever happened to any pick and rolls with this team?
Or any type of offense, elbow snap, freaking something. But to answer your question blatantly, like, look, man, when you're shooting 1 for 7 and you got Book over there that's 7 for 8, the hell are you doing, man? You need to be the one setting everything up instead of going out there shooting every single fadeaway that you can and botching bunny layups, man. Like, holy hell, some of the stuff that he was missing and has been missing has been mind-boggling. What was even worse in the last couple games was his turnovers, right? Dribbling into the 2 or 3 people, dribbling it off his legs and everything. That just, it doesn't look like Kevin Durant. This version tonight was better. He didn't shoot 10 of 27. He just shot 12 of 31.
Yes.
Right. But he got to the line as opposed to 2 free throws last game. But he did other things this game, like last game. I mean, he's been our best rebounder in this postseason so far. 9 rebounds, 8 assists. So it's like, it's not like when Devin Booker was doing point book stuff back in, 2-3 years ago, and he's bitching about calls and then he's just not getting back on defense. Like, no, at least KD is out there affecting the game in other ways. And that's why he's called, Bill Simmons calls him a Pantheon player, which is the top 15 player of all time. And I love that term to have that type of a player on that level. So he's able to do things that don't involve scoring. And obviously he sucks so much defense to himself. He's just a vacuum black cloud over there that the team can do other things on the other side. But man, when he's shooting like that, you're just like, what the hell? This is not what we trade for. This is still not the version.
Mikal Bridges could have done that, right?
Didn't they do that? I mean, he had his best Jay Crowder impression in the first half, shooting 2 for 11, or I forget what he did at the first half.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kevin Durant was 5 of 16 in the first half for 21 points. Now, granted, the second half, he ended going 7 of 15. So, 18 points in that second half. But every one of those points was needed. And I'll tell you, in the second half, because essentially what happens, you go up by 15 at halftime. The Suns start attacking. They start making some adjustments. right? And we'll talk about some of those other adjustments. But one of the primary adjustments that we saw was Kevin Durant attacking, getting to the cylinder and getting to the free throw line. That's an adjustment that the Suns hadn't had in game number 2. When you talk about opportunity to win game number 2, that was it. Was just simply get to the fucking line.
Yep.
And they were settling for the jumpers, and they do that. That's what the Suns do, is they sit there and they settle for the jumpers. And it's okay that they do, because that's who they are, and they're very, very efficient at it. But you still have to put pressure on the opposition and try to get to the line and try to get some of their guys in foul trouble. So when the third and fourth quarter happened, their guys got 4 fouls and they got to go sit for 5-6 minutes. You know, like Devin Booker.
Go figure.
That's the beauty of doing those kind of things. That's how you play the game. I mean, shit. Does anyone here ever play 2K? Just fucking download a DA and he drops it. Oh, we'll get there. So that's one adjustment that the Suns made was, hey, Kevin Durant, attack.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, KD didn't again have a good shooting night, but what I love about Kevin Durant is the fact that even when he has a shitty shooting night, he finds a way to score points. And he ends with 39. Like, if you don't have Devin Booker going for 37 or 47, you're really focused on KD and what he did tonight. 39, like if I told you, if you watch that game and I didn't tell you his point total, I doubt you would have guessed 39. I'd say, 25,
exactly.
20,
exactly.
That's what it felt like. But what he did, especially in the back end of the game, in that fourth quarter, when we needed it, when we needed points, Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter, 4 or 5 from the field, 11 points. That's what matters.
I bullied him to greatness on Twitter.
Oh, you bullied everyone. What was one of the things that you said? Kevin Durant sucks ass?
No. Kevin Durant is ass.
Is ass. He doesn't suck it. No. He's classier than that. He doesn't go around puckering up to asses and then sucking them. No, he simply is ass.
And he came out and he crushed it in the second half. So right on cue. Fire out a bad hot take, and then you get proven wrong within 20 minutes.
I love it.
Perfect.
That's why we go on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Is to say things and then have them prove us wrong. And then my favorite thing is when people go, well, that aged poorly. I'm like, good. I'm glad it did. I'm glad it aged poorly.
Damn straight.
You know,
I was pissed. This is a closeout game, man. You know what I'm saying? You go down 3-0, that's a death sentence. And we're coming out and we're playing like that, and you're shooting 2 for whatever. Like, you're not going to get a free pass. But he came out, and he's done this year. He's done this since he's gotten with us. He's had a bad first half. He'll go and he'll change his shoes, and he comes out the second half, and all of a sudden it's something different.
Did he change his shoes in this one?
He mentioned that he did a couple of games ago where he went in halftime and he changed his shoes because he was shooting so poorly and ended up with like
seen him
24 in the second. But yeah, you deserve it when you're shooting like that in a closeout game. Period.
I do want to give a shout out to Tim Tompkins in the chat. He says, guys, they won the game. Tim Tompkins, one of the OGs of the Solar Panel podcast. It used to be him, Dave King, and Greg Esposito. So I know he's out there in Florida time, but he's tuning in, and it always makes me happy when I know that Tim's watching. One of these days, Tim, we got to get you on one of these things, man. Like, you got to come out of retirement for a post-game podcast. So, but again, I'm gonna echo what I said. 12 minutes played in that fourth quarter by KD. He was 4 of 5, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, couple assists. And again, as you mentioned, the most important thing from him tonight is a simple fact that he had 0 turnovers. One thing that I noticed in this game, and I'm sure everyone else did in Twitter land, was the first guy to come off the bench for Monty Williams.
What's the matter, dog? You in Paris? This guy's a gangster? His real name?
Terrence.
He's the homie post Terrence. Parents have a real good marriage.
Terrence Ross, first guy off the bench. We've been pining for this for not just this series, but for the entire postseason. I think coming into this, he's played 9 minutes in the entire postseason.
Jesus.
Right? Garbage time. Him and TJ Warren, who also got some playing time. We'll talk about TJ here in a second, but I will say this. Big impact by Terrence Ross. Well, he played 14 minutes. He was 2 of 7 from the field. He had 5 points and 1 of 6 from beyond the arc. But you know what? I like that he was shooting the ball. I like that he has the confidence. When he came in and he hit that mid-range, I'm telling you, I felt vindicated. When he hit that 3, I felt orgasmic, man. I was like, there it is. Like, thank you, Terrence Ross. These are the minutes that we've been pining for. Monty Williams said it in a presser a couple days ago that Terrence Ross, TJ Warren, we would see more of them. Why is it taking Monty Williams so long? I don't care. He's doing it now. This is something that needs to continue in this series. Am I right?
No, absolutely. And it's not even close. I mean, what was the point of getting Terrence Ross in the first place? right?
Yeah.
It's an absolute no-brainer. And you saw the way that Jamal Murray was cooking Shamet in the other games. You can't tell me that Terrence Ross can't do that. But you know what? Terrence Ross came out and he was playing hard on defense. He challenged every single shot. Not just getting there and putting a hand up. He challenged shots. He was getting in there. He had a block. He had a couple tip rebounds where he tapped back to his teammates. I think one of them was Jock for an offensive possession.
Yes.
He did a lot of the little things to keep it going. And he only hit 2 shots. That's fine, but he was a +8, right? And when you have that kind of player on the floor, you have to respect his hotness, if you will.
The
'Cause
Human Torch.
Exactly.
Like,
That's
wow.
why we brought him on. Every team needs a good shooter off of the bench. And it's just a waste to have him sitting over there just rotting away.
It's not only that you have a good shooter, but you have a confident shooter.
Mm.
And the other confident shooter who came in this one, TJ Warren,
TJ, War Machine.
aka TJ Buckets. He ends the game with a total of 7 points, 3 of 7 from the field, 26 minutes played by TJ Warren in this one, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He also had a block in this game. But what was great about TJ Warren in that fourth quarter, where he scored 5 of his 7 points, was the confidence. Where he gets that one, they call the timeout, they come out, he's in the corner, they throw the ball to him, he misses the shot. The next possession down, Devin Booker's getting double teamed and he's trying something. Oh, there's TJ in that same quarter. Hits him.
And I'm like, no, not TJ. No.
I was like, take it, Buckets. Your nickname's Buckets. You got the Human Torch and TJ Buckets sitting on the bench for this series. He comes out, nails the 3. A possession later, when it's breaking down, it's TJ and his awkward push shot from 15 that like bounces around 2 times and goes in. Those are huge shots that have been missing this entire series for the Suns. Those are the guys who in game 2 who could have potentially gotten us 5 points. I mean, again, combined, they have 12 points between the guys who we like to affectionately call the Outlet Boys. Ross.
The Outlet Boys.
They were fantastic in this game. They're what we needed. They gave us some offensive semblance, and both of them were hustling their asses off on D.
Yes.
You can't tell me that either one of them was horrible on D in this game. There was a lot of bad defense in this game, but I'm not going to sit there and isolate those two and be like, well, they're unplayable because their lack of defense. I don't give a shit about their lack of defense. At times, the Suns' defense looked like it was already in Cancun in this game. And you know what? If I bring 2 guys in who have the ability to hit shots, and more importantly, in the fourth quarter, when the shit's on the line, have the confidence to take the shots, you bring those guys in. Kudos to Monty Williams for listening to the podcast and reading my shit on brightsideofthesun.com and finally making this decision, man.
Monty really had the balls and doubled down even and said, you know what? I'm going to play Ish Wainwright and Damian Lee last game. Like, he really had a pair on him. And here's TJ Warren, which you didn't even mention this stat. He was only a +20 in the highest plus-minus of the entire team.
In 26 minutes, that's something. That's something.
Third most, tied with DeAndre Ayton for the 3rd most minutes on the team tonight. No, excuse me. That'd be 4th. Campaign had 30. My bad.
And we will be talking about Campaign momentarily. But it's weird that it's like it takes Monty Williams to go to being 2 games down in the second round of the playoffs to put a proven NBA veteran in over a 2-way player.
But dude, he was playing JaVale McGee all Dallas series last year.
I know.
He's been playing Landry Shamet. He played Pyramid Poppy, in game 5, game 6 of the finals.
I forgot about him.
Come on, man. He does this weird shit. Remember game 6 of the finals, he brought in Javon Carter after Javon Carter played like no minutes the entire series.
The entire postseason.
And I almost think maybe it's like a little paralysis by analysis with Monty Williams. It's like, is he overthinking it, or is he just coming up in the middle of the night and he wakes up? He's like, you know what? Jock Landale's doing it tonight. He's the one. Wait, shit. Maybe it should be Bismack. Wait, shit. Nope. Darius Baisley. He's going to get 4 minutes tonight. I know it. Like, is that what what's going through his mind? Because regular basketball folk, the ones that have a little bit of brain to them, it's clear as day you need to be playing Terrence Ross and TJ Warren. That's why you traded for him in the Kevin Durant deal. That's why he was in it. There was a lot of rumors we were going to get Cam Thomas. I mean, in hindsight, like Cam Thomas was just sitting over there on the bench now. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yes.
But you still got a guy that can put up buckets. And these are two guys that they averaged what? It was like 60 points a game over a 3 or 4 game period when KD went out at the end of the season.
Yep.
And then Monty said, nah, come on.
Like, I got Ish Wainwright over here, man. Like, he played, I don't know if you know this, but he was a tight end at Baylor. So he needs to clearly play in the game. No, I think you said it so eloquently, and I think it's correct. It's paralysis by analysis. Every fan base looks at their roster, and we think we know better than the head coach. It's everyone.
Sure.
You know, we'll talk about it when we go through the subreddit stakeout for the Denver Nuggets. Every team they feel like they know their team. And the only thing that frustrates me, I think, is the fact that Monty has a proven track record of doing this, of having faith in guys probably a little too long. And one of those guys was Landry Shamet tonight.
Oh, yeah! Shabba-labba ding-dong!
Sneaky.
Landry Shamet ended up playing a total of 25 minutes in this game. He was 2 of 4 from the field. He had 2 rebounds. He had 3 personal fouls within like the first 2 minutes. He had 4 points. Like, after he got like 2 fouls in the first like minute and a half. I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing, Landry. You're just gonna foul the shit out of these guys so you can sit down. So you're like, oh, well, I was in foul trouble. Like, because guess what? The fans were booing him when he came in. Like, they were this anti-Shamet thing has caught on in Phoenix. We get it.
Yep.
And
it's gonna be bad for him. I hope he's not on the team next year, just literally for his own mental health. Because that could be some Ben Simmons shit right there. Well,
it's a contract that is going to be kind of hard to trade. It's a really good contract, and it's a good building blocks contract. Like, when we trade DeAndre Ayton, Landry Shamet will be a part of that deal just to make some money's work. I guarantee you that. But, like, if you watch him, the Nugs attack him with screens. And either they utilize him they use Jamal Murray's speed coming off a screen, and Jamal has an open look at the rim every time. Or if they try to isolate him, he just gets lost. He looks bad at times, man. And again, I feel somewhat responsible for the anti-Landry Shamet sentiment. Obviously, we have a lot of people who are watching the podcast right now. Again, if you are doing so, please hit that thumbs up button down below. It helps with the algorithms and lets everybody know we're the best Phoenix Suns post-game podcast on the internet is. And people who listen to the podcast, we have a bunch of listeners as well. And I know that this is a drum I've been beating the entire postseason is Landry Shamet is not good at basketball. We have better options. If he was our only option, I'd be like, dude, you just got to roll with it. But we have better options. We saw that tonight, but we still got all those minutes from Landry. And that's what's going to happen with Chris Paul being out. When Chris Paul hurt his groin, there was Monty Williams being like, hey, excellent. I can play my little butterfly, my little butterfly Landry, who I love so much. I will play him, and you cannot doubt me because I have no Chris Paul.
In chess, the pawns go first. So the good thing about the Shamet deal is next year is his last guaranteed year.
Yes.
The 24-25 season.
A team option, right?
Yeah, it's non-guaranteed.
Yeah.
The year after that, it's a club option.
Gotcha.
So it's non-guaranteed.
But it's what? Is it 10-3, something like that next year?
No, it's 10. Yeah, 10,250,000. It becomes fully guaranteed next year, June 29th, 2024.
Okay.
So that's when it becomes a guaranteed deal, and then I'm sure you could waive him or whatever. I haven't read the new CBA or anything. I'm not that nerdy quite yet, but no, last year is his last guaranteed year, which kind of essentially makes it, this is a 1-year deal type of guy, and those guys are very valuable when it comes to trade scenarios.
100%, because it allows you to move off some salary cap and then make some decisions, if you will, moving forward. So
right.
Again, not the greatest thing to see, but again, you're a victim of circumstance because Chris Paul got injured, and because Chris Paul got injured, we got some Cameron Payne to start.
Here comes the Payne!
Cameron Payne tonight, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 5 from beyond the arc. Fuck, I needed him to hit 2 threes to hit a little parlay there. But I parlayed it with 16 DeAndre Ayton points, and we'll talk about that momentarily. 7 points from Cameron Payne, 6 assists, 1 steal, only 1 turnover from Cam Payne. And I really liked it, seeing him in this game. You saw it right off the bat. Cameron Payne became Cameron Pace, if you will.
Ooh,
Out there running. They were getting transition buckets. They were pushing the pressure. And again, I just wish he hit a couple more 3 balls, but I liked what I saw from Cameron Payne tonight. I saw some confidence in him. Again, he's going to be somebody who plays well at home because he feeds off the crowd. Had he hit one of those second threes, especially some of those in the second half, those would have been huge for Cam Payne, because he hits one of those and it's just an avalanche. And he hit that one, and then he decided to take one from 3 feet further, and he missed it. And then that was kind of it from him offensively. But did you like what you saw from Cameron Payne in this game?
It almost felt like our offense was a little bit better. I don't understand. This is another dude I don't understand why he didn't play more. I get he's coming off of the injury, obviously. But, man, pace. I mean, isn't that what you want from your backup point guard, or something a little bit different than what your regular point guard can do? I mean, do you really want your backup point guard to do the exact same thing and run the exact same offense? Like, not me. You got to lean into your strengths.
Yes.
And here's Cam Payne coming out, running and gunning, 7 seconds or less style, and all of a sudden you see the floor just opening up. Like, go figure. Again, another WTF moment by Monty Williams. Like, this is obvious. This is what the guy's done ever since we signed him into the bubble. Pace. He's a perfect backup point guard. He can catch a lot of dudes. There
Matthew
we go.
Lissy's here.
Hey,
How was
what's
the
up?
game, guy?
Oh, it was
How
really
was
good.
it?
It was good, but I don't really believe in the Suns right now. But they still won. It's good.
Hey, well,
You
good.
know,
You're following the theme
got
of the
a little
podcast.
Right on time.
Yeah, look at that stealing fan. Just really quick, couple things. I just
Okay.
want to say, Jock, you guys owe me a big apology, and thank you, Matthew, for believing in him. 'Cause he was fucking
I'll just take Matthew out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome back, Matthew.
amazing. So yes.
Stop with
All
the
right,
phone moving
that's all
thing.
I wanted to say. And
God, we haven't
also,
even talked about Jock
Kogi and
yet.
Craig, if you haven't even talked about them,
We
I'm
haven't.
surprised they disappeared. But
Completely.
just a few things there, but I gotta go. And I love the pod. Just want to say thanks for having me on, and thanks, Coach, for joining again tonight.
Go home and love your family, Matthew.
Yeah, I will for sure, man. Get in there, kids. Get in there.
All right. Well, don't end the broadcast like I did that one time. So yeah, we'll talk about Cameron Payne. We got to talk about the rest of the guys. This is probably going to be a long one because we haven't done the subreddit stakeout, hand out the jam store, or even talk about DeAndre Ayton yet. So, but what you were saying about Cameron Payne, again, the pace in which he plays, carry on.
It's just obvious what he brings, and he brings just a different dynamic. His layups were on today.
Yes,
That's
huge for him.
obviously that's a huge indicator if he's going to be with it or not with it. I like some of his decision making. You can tell it just feels like him, Ross, Warren. They're like right there. They can't quite get over that hump or line or whatever it is, but it feels like they're all just right there. And so I really can't wait for Sunday's game to watch those 3 guys in particular. Unless they get benched again. Who knows?
You never know. You never know with Monty Williams. As Matthew mentioned, if you take a look at Josh Okogie and Torrey Craig, they combined for 2 points in this game. They combined for 1 of 3 from the field. They combined for a total of 3 rebounds in this game. Torrey Craig only played 3 minutes, Coach. Josh Okogie only played 10. Why?
Dude, I don't know. Why is Shamet playing and why aren't these dudes playing? I mean,
Yes,
you've said it
see?
how many times with Josh Okogie, and we saw it in the 10 minutes, how many offensive rebounds he was able to, not himself put together, but overall kind of conjure up with his shiftiness and his tenacity and all that. Torrey Craig, arguably one of the better players. Well, he was, not arguably, he was one of the better players for us
Facts.
last series. And then he goes out and plays 3 minutes. Now I know I still can't see if he's got something on his hand taped right there. I don't know if it's taped all the way around, but you see like maybe some of that K tape or something like that. I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's affecting him. But this is just another guy that knows our system, that's been playing in it for a while. You see Cam Payne so many times when he's getting the ball, he wants to flip it around the corner or do something quick. But like, oh, guy's not where he should be.
Yes,
Shit.
exactly.
Like, I just feel like playing with a guy with like Craig with him would do so many good things because you get another dude that knows the system, knows the ins and outs, knows what they're supposed to do. And you had that iconic, I think it was game 2 alley-oop dunk from Cam Payne to Torrey Craig.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I'm sick of talking about it because nobody knows. And I wish somebody in the Phoenix media had the balls to ask Monty Williams, why are your lineups so stupid right now?
They're just all over the place. There's no continuity. It's one of those things where you just none of it makes sense. Now, granted, like the advantage of this is when we talk about adjustments going into game 4, you could say more Okogie, you could say more Craig, you could say some more physicality, but it was clear that the Phoenix Suns were focused on 2 things tonight: speed in Cameron Payne and shooting. And
Taking it to the hole too.
Taking it to the hole, shooting, bringing in your the Human Torch and TJ buckets, as we've mentioned. They came out and they're like, we're just going to put together a good offensive game. Fuck the defense on this one, because Torrey Craig and Josh Okogie, those are your defending guys, and they haven't necessarily had the ability to give you any positive on the offensive end in this series. Josh Okogie, as I mentioned at the end of last game, had a clear shot in the lane with a couple minutes to play. Maybe it was in the last minute. Suns were down, and he passed out of it. And I said I learned a lot about Josh Okogie, and that's fine. He's somebody who doesn't have the confidence to take that shot, and that's okay. But the frustration is the fact that he doesn't have the confidence to take that shot. So that's why you have TJ Warren in there. You have Terrence Ross. You have guys who are willing. You have Campaign, guys who have the balls to take that shot, because you need that. You need the offense. We scored 87 fucking points in the last game, and they didn't in this one because Monty's game plan is like, listen, it's blitzkrieg. We're just blitzing them tonight. We're going to blitz them offensively. And if they have to make adjustments defensively, if they need to bring Okogie in a little bit more to play those minutes against Jamal Murray, then that's what they need to do, because you have to have Okogie more out there more than Landry Shamet. You can't tell me that Landry Shamet did a good job on fucking Jamal Murray. You just can't fucking tell me that. Blind.
Ain't nobody going to tell you that. Ain't nobody.
Did you say Ayton?
Ayton watch.
Oh, all you Ayton stands, you're hiding tonight. You ain't got shit to say tonight. Again, I always like I've said before, I'm an Ayton realist, man. When he has a great game, I call it out. I appreciate it. When he has a bad game, guess what? I call it out. I appreciate it. Tonight, DeAndre Ayton, 26 minutes played, 2 of 6 from the field. He had 9 rebounds. He had 4 points. But again, it's not about the box score when you look at DA. It's just plain and simple. It's what you see on the court. Dave King, friend of the podcast, managing editor, Bright Side of the Sun, he tweeted this out during the game. Ayton has been awful this game, offensively and defensively. Really awful. Twitter tonight was a DeAndre Ayton graveyard. And I'll go into some of the comments that some of the Jamsters put, because I asked them, how would you describe DeAndre Ayton tonight? But I'll start by asking you, Coach, how would you describe DeAndre Ayton tonight?
This dude got benched in the 4th quarter in the biggest game of the year to an undersized veteran on a veteran minimum contract. What else do you need to say? And clearly outplayed, out-hustled, out-hearted DeAndre Ayton.
I'll allow it.
Clearly, when you have Richard Jefferson over there, a U of A alum, by the way, forks up. When you have Richard Jefferson over there, a mouthpiece for ESPN, going on there and saying, yeah, don't bring DA back in. You need to leave Jock. He's been the better one. Something's wrong with this man. And then I forget who said it. Tell me you saw this, John. So Chris Paul went over to DeAndre Ayton to give him a little bit of love, give him a little love tap and pound it. And he put the fist up, and DeAndre Ayton didn't even dap him up. He walked away and sat on the end of the bench. Who the fuck were the anchor of the Phoenix Suns? We know what kind of anchor you really are, DA. You're the one weighing the ship down. That's what it was tonight.
Ooh, that was good.
He was an anchor. He was. But not the kind he thinks.
Oh, man. I got to put that in my notes. He was an anchor, because that's going to go in the pod description. Anchor. Because that's what he was.
At the 49-minute mark.
John Humble in the chat. DeAndre Ayton, $32 million. Jock, $2 million.
Bruh.
Parker Hines, one of our elite Jamsters, $4.99 in the super chat. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for supporting the podcast. It allows us to continue to do this. DA was just absolutely unplayable. Okay. My goodness.
Here's the thing, Parker, thank you for bringing this up. I forgot to mention this. One thing that every Phoenix Suns podcaster has said, from Flex to Dan Duarte to myself, probably you, I think at one point. No, you did say it at one point. The thing about DeAndre Ayton is, though, you can't play him off the floor. No matter what, you can't play him off the floor. That was the biggest defense. You could not play that man tonight in the biggest game of the year.
It's a fact. It's an absolute fact. Kellen Olson, as you mentioned, said Ayton went over to the coach's huddle to double check himself. CP3 gave him a tap and then held his hand out for a dap as Ayton walked away. Not reciprocated. Ayton sat on the end of the bench during the huddle. He was horrible tonight. He was absolutely horrible. And it's funny because we were talking about putting things out on Twitter and then having them like proved wrong and you're like happy. It was frustrating to me in that first quarter, and I tweeted it out. I go, why don't the Suns run anything through Ayton? It gets Jokic in foul trouble. When is this adjustment going to occur? And then I was like, oh yeah, because he's too soft. How could I forget? There's the one play where they bounce him the ball, and it's going to be the iconic, the next clip that he's clapping to on Instagram or on ESPN's Twitter feed, where they bounce him the ball and he goes up. He doesn't know if he wants to jam it or if he wants to lay it up, and he just kind of, it's like I said on our Twitter space at halftime. It was like a sixth grader prematurely ejaculating. It's what he looked like. He's like, halfway to and then the ball goes off the rim, and the Nuggets go right down in a fast break and score to Jokic because he was too busy with it, he's checking his shorts to see where the skeet stain was, and Jokic is laying it in on the other end. I'm absolutely terrified when the ball's in his hands. There's the one play where he finally gets a defensive rebound, and then somebody comes from behind, pokes it away.
Yep.
And
there was a 3-pointer.
Yeah. Then Michael Porter Jr. nails a 3. And then a couple plays later, he gets the rebound and he doesn't know what to do. So he throws it to KD and it almost gets picked off again.
Yeah.
And he's doing this over and over and over again. And it's just, it's unacceptable. And I got to give a shout out to @Sphere Suns on Twitter. He says, you don't go to war with a coward. And that's a powerful statement, but it's true. That's what DeAndre Ayton is. He just doesn't, he's playing a different game, man. He's playing a different game. And if you go through, shout out to everybody on Twitter. Again, I tweeted out, how would you describe DA tonight? Best comments will be read on tonight's pod. Somebody said, on the way from Denver to Phoenix, his Tesla battery died. Shout out to @WillV94 for that one.
That was awesome.
At Dynasty The Rock, aggravating. At Ivy Man Fantasy Football, the way he sat on the bench was tremendous. Hats off to him to keep it up. At T Jonesy 757, Sam Bowie, Ben Simmons. Yeah, he's putting himself in that realm with this kind of play. At All AZ Sports 1, not bad for a bench player. At Generic Suns fan, heartless, worst contract in the NBA. At Galev1, not great, but no one is passing to him. Either way, he needs to get 15 plus rebounds. There's a reason why they don't pass him the ball. They don't have confidence in him. And Matthew and I have been saying it too. You see it on the court when they try to get him the ball, and then he gets all fucking nervous and he doesn't know what to do with it. Like everybody else has a fluidity to their offensive game. And in the first half, I was appreciative of DeAndre Ayton on the defensive side. He had some good shot to turns. He was grabbing some rebounds. I thought he looked good in the first half. In the second half, he had no idea what was going on. The Nuggets were running back screens, and he didn't know what to do, and he was just standing there. And guys were getting wide open. I'm like, dude, just take a guy. Like in the first half, him and Kevin Durant were doing a good job, like switching off of Jokic. I'm like, this is good basketball. The second half, they changed it up because when they were trying to do the switch off, a back screen would come, and DeAndre Ayton would just be standing there, and he'd be like, oh shit, there's no one around me. You know?
My favorite one was when he was guarding Jokic on the perimeter, just like this. And 2 or 3 times, Jokic just goes up, he's like, man down. I'm going to shoot over your ass. Swish.
Yeah, and then
didn't do a damn thing about it.
And then he just kind of lightly puts his hand up. He doesn't try to put his hand in his face. He just lackadaisical. At Miguel, playing like a recalled Tesla battery. At Bobby Goa, not worth wasting energy on something that can't be fixed. At Skloz99, really, really bad at basketball. That's it. At 1-2 Andrew, bench player, start Jock. At Soft Dad 16, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, and Ayton is a duck. That's
fuck a duck, right?
Yeah, fuck a duck. At lost gamer always, hot garbage. I mean, it just goes on and on. I got a million comments on these, man, and it's true. DeAndre Ayton
And that's
was
awful that
absolute
you had to get
ass.
those comments. That sucks. You had
It
to put that
sucks.
out. You
He's
know,
our number
I've
one
been
pick.
on the I don't like DeAndre Ayton on the Suns train since 2021, and he had a nice playoff run in 2021, right? But you know what? What have you done with me lately? We got to stop calling playoff Ayton and all that crap, right? I mean,
He's proven all that wrong.
Whatever happened to this dude is amazing. And it probably all started with DA not getting the bag after the finals run and had to wait a whole year. That could potentially be it. But in the long run, you still got it. You should be happy about that. And he doesn't seem to be. And I don't understand it, but I've thought for the longest time he's not happy here because you got guys like Chris Paul and Devin Booker that think a certain way, practice a certain way, get up in your face, they'll say some shit, and everybody in the league says after 2 years you're tired of playing with Chris Paul because of all the chirping and whatnot. And him and Devin Booker play the exact same way. They're the same person. They're just as competitive, and he can't take that, and it's not good for him. I can for sure see him going to Orlando because I wouldn't mind trading for Wendell Carter, who's 24 years old and 6'10".
They wouldn't do it.
But
I proposed that last year.
But I could for sure see him going to another franchise like that and getting 25 and 12. I could see it because it'll just open up for him.
I could see it too.
It's not going to happen with Booker, dog.
The weight of the seriousness and the intensity of his teammates, he cannot match, and he's afraid. He needs to go to a shit team and be the guy who gets 20 and 12 on a shit team all day long because there's no pressure. And he can walk around, he can say his stupid shit, wear stupid clothes, and just be happy as a pig in shit. But that's
Andre Drummond, right?
Coming. Andre Drummond, a good example. One of those guys who just does a great job of just, I'm big and I can get some points. But when the pressure's on, he's folding this year. And everything that I've said, and you're correct to say it, he can't be played off the court. That's one of the advantages of DeAndre Ayton. When the playoffs come, you're going to see what DeAndre Ayton's contract value is. He got outplayed tonight by Jock Landale, and it wasn't even close, man. It wasn't even close. What are the odds that he gets traded? If you were to put a number on it right now, what are the odds that he gets traded this offseason? Because it's a desirable contract.
I've always said he wasn't picked by James Jones. He wasn't picked by Monty Williams either.
Matt Ishbia ain't going to want
Now you got Matt Ishbia coming in here and seeing that. 85%, I want to say.
Yeah, I would give it like 3-1 odds. I would.
That's fair.
I really
probably
would.
Low.
And here's the problem, though. He has games like this, it decreases his overall value. We need a couple good games in here just so people will be like, yeah, okay. Because we should sell him off for parts, man. We can go with the new salary cap and the way that it's structured. We're not going to be able to afford Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Ayton without getting penalized to shit. And don't get me wrong. I don't know if you listened to Matt Ishbia on the Bill Simmons podcast. He doesn't care about money. He just wants to win, and he's always going to put us in a position to win. Yada. He said all the right things, and I was amped up hearing it. But you're not going to pay that for that. You would rather take that $32 million contract, which kicks in start next year, trade that, and just get it for parts. Get it for a center who's $18 million a year, and guess what? Maybe we get a backup point guard in the deal, or maybe we can get a couple draft picks back and throw Landry in the deal, and everyone will be happy. And I know that the season's not over, and we shouldn't be talking about this, but but that's reality. That's reality. And I know that you're going to love what I'm about to pull up from San Andreas, right? He said, trade for Sabonis would have been perfect. Don't you think, Evan? The number one.
I ain't got nothing to say, bro, about a 3-time All-Star. I got nothing to say. Look, I don't think Sabonis. I have plenty of ideas, and I don't want to get into who and whatnot. Miles Turner, Wendell Carter. We can get into things, Julius Randle, if we want to later, after the season, obviously. But
we'll get there.
Like me being an Ayton hater, and I have been a staunch Ayton hater. It definitely has nothing to do with college affiliation or taking $100,000 under the table, which showed, by the way, a lot of his character just to begin with, right?
Yes.
I knew for a fact, and I've said it on this podcast, Ayton was the key to opening up a Suns championship.
Yeah,
He was the key.
he was the
And
key.
so to see him go down, even as an Ayton hater, still fucking sucks, dude. It still sucks. I still wanted him to succeed. How dope would it have been if he comes out and he got 20-20 tonight and gets all the love that Kevon Looney has gotten, right? That would have been awesome. I wouldn't have been like, oh, I don't like Ayton, so I'm not happy. Hell no, I'd have been happy as shit.
Yeah, we want him to be successful.
This is awful.
It's not good. It's not good when the guy who is outplaying him in a series and in a game has this drop.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock Landale.
Jock in this game, he only had 6 points, but he had 9 rebounds, 2 on the offensive end, and he also had a steal, and he just looked more engaged. What he brought was an energy on the offensive and defensive glass that is something that we've been missing. It's valuable minutes that he provided. He was talking shit to Bruce Brown. He was outplaying DA at every turn. And what he was doing was creating havoc and flustering Nikola Jokic at points. Now, again, you look at Jokic's final stat line. Here we are literally 1 hour into the podcast. And I bring up the fact that he went for 30, 17 assists, and 17 rebounds. Fucking A, Nikola Jokic. You know? But at least he flustered him some. At least he made him upset. DeAndre Ayton was just too soft for him. He was playing physical. He was playing like Russell Westbrook was with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant still got his, but he flustered him and he just kind of pissed him off. That's what you need. You need somebody to do that. Jock Landale also brings an offensive presence that Bismack Biyombo just doesn't. And there's going to be times when Busy's going to come in and we're going to need him for his defense, and that's what we love about Busy. He's a fucking eraser on defense, but he has no offensive skill sets, whereas Jock does. And Jock was hustling, and he played like he gave a shit. And it's a standard. If we had took his heart and you put it in DA, the guy would be a fucking all-NBA center, but you just can't do that because science.
I will take the guy with the motor, the real motor, over the talented guy any day of the week. Do you know the theory behind the one-armed rebound or the one-handed rebound? For people listening in the audio podcast world, which is the way that I always consume your podcast, is through audio after the fact or the next morning. That's why I'm not in the chat. I'm so sorry. But anyways, the one-arm rebound.
You come in, you're like, fuck Ayton, and then you leave.
Yeah, basically, you know. So the one-arm rebound, and I hope you can still hear me back here. When you're boxing out a guy and you got your hands up and all that, you know, you can kind of get pushed under. You're getting pushed from behind, and then all of a sudden the ball goes over you, and you're kind of screwed. Even if you're boxing out, the one-arm rebound, you're putting your forearm into the guy's chest, and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and all of a sudden you're leaning back, and then you can kind of go up and gobble the rebound with one arm. You saw Jock Landale do that 2 or 3 times tonight in tight space, tight quarters, where DeAndre Ayton couldn't. And when I saw him doing that, I was like, it's done. Don't you dare bring Ayton back in the game. That was absolutely marvelous because, man, he was getting owned by Jokic on the boards yet again and pushing him. And he's trying to box out. You kind of see a half-ass. But then, as I said, you're getting pushed down, which means the ball can go over you. Whereas Jock Landale is putting it right to the chest. And he's pushing and he's pushing and he's pushing. And he's not giving up any space. And you saw Jokic get a little bit uncomfortable there in the fourth quarter when Jock was not getting back down. He stood his ground. And then there goes Jokic trying to pass and do something else. And, you know, obviously he makes great passes and it ended up to be a score, but he got the ball out of Jokic's hands because he wasn't giving up ground. So watching Jock Landale play tonight was damn near inspirational, John.
It was something that we needed as Suns fans to know that there's an alternative to DeAndre Ayton. And it brings me to my next question. Would you start Jock over DA in the next game? Would you have the balls to do it?
I wouldn't start DA just for this. You got to send a message. You got to. So something needs to be said. Monty seems too much of a nice guy. But, you know, this kind of brings me back now. Remember when Ayton didn't get the bag after the finals run? Mm-hmm. And apparently him and Monty didn't talk for like 2 or 3 months. Do you think Monty would go up and say something? Or do you think Monty's just going being like, shit, how do I get Shamet to play center?
That's probably what he would do. He's like, okay, I'm gonna break the basketball. Shamet at the 5. It's happening, folks. Da did not talk to the media after the game in this one, by the way. I don't know how much you take into that, but
I take it that that's
surprised.
some Dylan Brooks bullshit.
No,
right
the
there.
difference is Dylan Brooks talked a lot of shit. Da doesn't talk a lot of shit. He just is shit. That's the difference. Like, I mean, that's kind of the difference there.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I was hanging out on the subreddit of the Denver Nuggets, and I will say this, it is kind of fun tonight watching the live chat popping off, going crazy. All you Jamsters over there, I see you. And I don't see any of those Nuggets fans who've been in our live chat, the Pinster brothers. They haven't said one word tonight. Man, all they did was talk shit in the first 2 games. What are they, Dylan Brooks and us? They're avoiding the media. So here are some of the things that the Denver Nuggets fans were saying on our Denver Nuggets, which is the Reddit thread for the Denver Nuggets. They said, the first quarter will likely be the Suns' best punch of the series. Just got to settle in and keep it close. Hell, the Suns were down after 1 in this one. That's what concerned the shit out of me. A 4-point lead gets Suns fans that excited? How about fuck off? How about that? Suns are pressing the ball and playing up-tempo right now. They'll gas themselves out by the 4th. Suck my Johnson. Booker taking CP3's place as the most annoying player. Man, they were riding Booker in this one. They were very unhappy with him being frustrated for not getting some calls. And I don't blame Devin Booker for being frustrated. He was getting hacked again. They weren't getting called again. Yep. Jokic, I love how unselfish you are, but good God, be a little selfish. It's flipping Jock Landale on you, one Nugget fan said. If Booker goes nuclear and everyone else is limited, I like our chances. You lost. Late fucking whistle on Durant there. It's like these refs really don't want to call anything on Phoenix at all. A lot of, shit talking again in that first half when the Phoenix Suns outshot the Denver Nuggets at the line. 15, or I'm sorry, how many free throws did they have in the first half? They had 5. We had 12. Welcome to game 2, you bastards. Yep, we are fucked. Booker is in fucking God mode. 25 points already. And then they said, Jokic isn't even looking to score. What the fuck is he doing, LOL? Somebody responded, Joker passive tonight. Get in there, man. And he did. Chris Paul, way more effective on the for the Suns jabbering on the bench. I feel for Phoenix with Ayton. Motherfucker plays with 0 heart. Ouch. I'm more scared of Landale than Ayton. Landale greater than Ayton.
Wow.
Oh, great. Landale is in, which means Jokic will refuse to score again. Damn it, I hate that Landale is decent. So, I mean, again,
wow.
They were going off on it. I'll tell you this. I see a lot of subreddits, okay? We go live every night after every game all season. And Matthew and I take turns doing the subreddit stakeout. Every team calls Ayton soft, man. Even on good games, they call him soft. Why the fuck would anyone care about what Payne is saying all night? He was mic'd up in this one. They're like, who gives a shit what Payne says? Needing your stars to go for 80+ for a single-digit win isn't a winning play. We can fucking do this if our team plays like a normal basketball team. And that takes us back to what we were talking about at the front end.
Yep.
Essentially, is this going to be sustainable for the Phoenix Suns moving forward?
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right, let's talk Jam Star, and then we'll talk about adjustments for Game 4.
Let's just go to the Jam Star. Jam Star of the game, everybody. Do. All right, Jam Star of the game.
All right, Jam Star of the game. It's got to be Devin Booker, right, Evan? Booker, he's holding the Booker jersey. I mean, that's what it'd be. I mean, unbelievable with Devin Booker tonight. We'll start, or we'll end where we started with what he did, with some of the statistics that we read. I want this postseason to continue, Evan. I really do. We all do. Fuck, it would be great to win a championship. But if we don't, what we're seeing from Devin Booker is the greatest run in postseason history from a Phoenix Suns. And you have to admire it. You have to cherish it. And you have to call it for what it is. And you have to enjoy it because it's special. And again, what he did tonight with 47 points, putting this team on his dick and rising to the occasion. Way to go, D-Book.
Listen. This Suns team was put together with an owner that was on his way out that didn't want to sign a bunch of dudes. We were hamstrung with the KD rumors. It felt like they knew that it was going to come down, and even Flex tweeted it out. It was going to come down all the way to the All-Star break and then into the trade deadline. That's what was going to happen. And so we went out and we signed a bunch of $1 and $2 million veteran minimum players that are turning out, to be pretty good, but we weren't able to go out and get a solidified role player. I feel like it's going to be very hard for us to win this year. Not impossible, but I feel like it's going to be very difficult. But you realize everybody in the NBA is watching Devin Booker right now, having the best playoffs. You saw Dame in the front, right? In the front row. These players want to play with Devin Booker. And going into an offseason with a little bit of cap flexibility, you can trade some guys, whether it's Ayton, Shamet, whatever. You can have some salary cap.
Chris Paul, not guaranteed. Take his contract, stretch it.
Having an owner that doesn't give a fuck about paying money. This is going to be one of the more exciting, but in my opinion, the most important offseason of all time for the Phoenix Suns. Because
I say that every year.
This one's it. This one's it. When because Devin Booker is in his prime,
big time,
and everybody is seeing it. Oh, I can't wait. I don't even know what the question was or if I answered it, but there you go.
It was Devin Armani Booker. All right.
Beautiful son of a
Game
bitch.
4, 5 p.m. Arizona time, Sunday. What adjustments need to be made? How do we come out of this, headed back to Denver, tied 2-2, and feeling better about ourselves, not only as Suns fans, but just as human beings overall?
Rebound and shoot more field goal attempts than they do. They had 97 tonight. We had 95. They out-rebounded us by 10, and we still pulled out a win. Rebounds and get more field goal attempts than them. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
That's it. And if you have more Jock and Busy minutes than Ayton and we can win the battle of the boards, I think that's going to play a huge, huge factor into it for the entire series.
So you're going with the math.
I'm going with the math, the analytics, and
you got to do it.
And my gut and who this Denver Nuggets offense is. If this Nuggets offense gets 10 to 15 more shots than we do, come on, man, game over.
Well, yeah. It's a fact. They're just, I mean, that's what game 1 was.
Exactly.
I mean, they had like 15 more shots than us. I'll say this. All right. From an adjustment standpoint, to those of you who are listening or watching and you're attending game number 4, cheer that team on. You hear Landry Shamet's checking into the game, cheer him on. DeAndre Ayton's out there, cheer him on. Those guys need the confidence. They don't need their hometown fans booing. Like, again, Landry Shamet was booed when he came in a little bit late, and it was justified. But you guys, we can't do that to our own team. We can do it right here. We can do it when we're watching our TVs. We can scare the shit out of our cat when we start yelling at the team. Fucking Landry. The cat's like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
That's what Twitter's for.
Exactly. But don't do it if you're in the stands. You know, as Crazy Luigi says, be loud and proud. As Laser's show says, be loud. We have to be there. We have to support these guys because that's what's going to develop the confidence for this team. Josh Okogie should play more minutes than Landry Shamet. Devin Booker, if he gets 47 again, it's amazing. It's not sustainable. Kevin Durant, 39, it's not sustainable. We want it. We need it. But if we can have, again, solid bench play, solid minutes coming off the bench, and that's what we got. You know, tonight we outscored their bench. They had a total of 19 points. We had a total of 13.
No depth, Phoenix Suns?
23 to 19. We outscored them. You got to do that again, in my opinion. There's my math. You got to win the moments and the minutes in which Jokic is off the court, which we did tonight. And that's huge. We have to continue doing that. That's how we win this game. So, again, we'll see you guys live directly following the game as per usual here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. I'd like to thank Coach Evan B. for joining me and going down this interesting route of being happy but also being critical during a win because that's what we are. We're Suns fans. Coach, once again, remind everybody where they can follow you. This time I won't drink a beer and just amaze you with my drinking ability so you can finish your sentence this time.
You are more than welcome to drink another beer, John. But at Coach Evan B on Twitter, at He's on Fire Pod. Check out the He's on Fire podcast, which is streaming right now over on YouTube. So if you want more Suns content, go on over there right now. I'm going to hop on as well. And yeah, maybe we'll shit on Ayton some more. Maybe we'll just talk about Devin Booker. I think I'd rather just talk about Devin Booker.
Stay positive, my friends. Remember, you can follow me at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew, who popped in briefly with a ceiling fan behind him, at Matthew Lissy. You can follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can read my writing at brightsideofthesun.com. I'm sure I'll have something interesting to write for tomorrow. And again, we'll see you on Sunday night. And remember to go home and love your family.
Drive fast and take chances.
Okay. I'll allow it.